focus a lot on the surface, so I look at different glazes. I've worked with a couple of celadon glazes, so traditional Chinese glazes on porcelain, which come out really rich and green. I've looked at really kind of experimental ways of glazing with mixing river sand into iron oxide and slip, and I paint that on some of the ladders to give them a really earthy kind of encrusted look. And I've also worked with just using the porcelain, firing the porcelain quite high to about 1300 degrees, and just working with that really beautiful white surface that you can get with the porcelain.
The technique is kind of simple. I have different techniques for each one of the series of works that you can see here. They're kind of different. So you have the kind of a rocking kind of series, which is very simple. I just sculpt like sponge models with my hands. That's it. I don't need like nothing else, just sponge block and just tear it. And afterwards I dip it in porcelain. It's a porcelain I made especially for this technique, which is, it's the Limoges porcelain, which I add to it like fluxes and fritz and all sorts of stuff to make it stand well in the kiln. There are this type of objects, which are also very easy just with a hand kind of small saw. I just saw the foam and it gets this lines and stripes around it. So, and then I dip it and fire it, and that's it. And the coral one are a bit more tricky to explain. What I do, I take a block of foam, I make a hole in the middle of it and start just digging with my hands, and then I just cast it with porcelain. It's just like pouring porcelain into a mold, and then I take out the extra material and just dry it. And when I fire it, because of the mass of the porcelain itself, it just pushes the material through the walls of the small foam block. And then I just fire it, and when it gets to the kiln, I don't know what it will look like, but that's the fun part of it. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, all my work is made in porcelain and it's thrown on a potter's wheel and then glazed and fired in gas reduction in my studio. When I'm making the things on the wheel, they look vastly different to how they do now. They often are much, much thicker and less formed, if that makes sense. I make them on the wheel and then I put them back on the wheel once they're drying and cut away some of the excess clay, and I keep doing that 4 or 5 times until I feel like I've got the right feel and profile of the form that I want. And then with the glazing can be quite unpredictable, so you've got control to a certain point, and then it's a box of fire that you're putting your work into, so sometimes you don't know how it's going to be when it comes out. Even as a student 24 years ago, I knew about the Shepparton Art Museum and the collection here, and I've seen in books quite often the collection here over the years. Being a ceramic artist, there's an exhibition at the moment upstairs which has a lot of my teachers from when I was at college. And also I came to the gallery in June and was able to look through some of the collection and see some of the very early Australian ceramics, and that's also helped me think about some of the shapes and forms for this exhibition. So it's been a multi-leveled sort of source of inspiration. There's some amazing works in the collection, and so important for for Australia and for Australian ceramic artists.